Welcome back to another session of Daily Current Affairs. My name is Aishwarya and I am representing Gallant IAS. So let's move on to today's current affairs topics. So I have quite a few topics here today. 16th Finance Commission is a very important topic considering our GS2 and also GS3, considering its recommendations and dilution of funds between the center and state. We have global boiling, a very new term. India-Japan relations. Recently, the Japan Foreign Minister is meeting India. It's an important topic under GS2. We have Semicon India. We will discuss in detail about the semiconductor missions and all in India. Then we have two film stage topics. Now, let's move on to the first topic. Charting the path for 16th Finance Commission. Our last 15th Finance Commission was created in 2017 and it gives out the devolution of funds for center and state between the year of 2020. It gives out the fund for the revolution between 2020 to 2025. So the 16th Finance Commission had to be created in 2022. അതൊന്ന് 2022 ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ പറ്റാത്തതുകൊണ്ടാണ് നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു പാത്ത് ക്രിയേറ്റ് ചെയ്യണം 16th ഫൈനാൻസ് കമ്മീഷൻ ഇപ്പോൾ തന്നെ ഉണ്ടാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. ലാസ്റ്റ് ഫൈനാൻസ് കമ്മീഷൻ 15th ഫൈനാൻസ് കമ്മീഷൻ സെറ്റപ്പ് ചെയ്തത് 2017 ഈ 2020 മുതൽ 2025 വരെയുള്ള നമ്മുടെ ഫൈനാൻസിൻ്റെ കാര്യങ്ങൾ ഡീൽ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടി. ഓക്കെ, സോ നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെ ഫോക്കസ് ചെയ്യേണ്ട കുറച്ച് ഏരിയ ഉണ്ട്. ദ കീ ഏരിയാസ് ലൈക്ക് ഫൈനാൻസ് കമ്മീഷൻ, ദ 15th ഫൈനാൻസ് കമ്മീഷൻ reports and recommendation, also India's debt to GDP ratio. In my previous videos, I have discussed in detail India's current debt to GDP ratio profile. So we will be moving on to others. Now, the first thing which we need to know about is the Finance Commission. It's constituted under Article 280 of our Constitution. It is constituted by the President every 5 years. It's not a permanent body. It's constituted every year. It makes its recommends how there is a distribution of finance between the center and state. These recommendations are advisory and they are not binding in nature. These recommendations are not binding. It's a very important thing. They are just advisory in nature. Okay, now I'll tell you about the 14th and 15th Finance Commission, how the funds were distributed. Now you see here, these are some of the criteria: the population, area, forest ecology, income distribution, demographic performance and tax effort. These are some of the areas by which there is a distribution of the resources. First thing which we need to know is the vertical distribution. The vertical distribution is the distribution of resources between the center and the state. That is like you see here, 42% given by the 14th Finance Commission for between 2015 to 20. Now, 41 is the vertical distribution. 42 and 41, these are the vertical distribution. The 41 is the vertical distribution given by the 15th Finance Commission, that is from 2020 to 2025. Okay, so the horizontal distribution is how this 41% or 42% is distributed between states. Okay, that is what the vertical distribution. Vertical is distribution between the center and the state. Horizontal is the distribution between the states and how this 41 or 42% is distributed. Now, as I told you, these are some of the criteria by which the devolution of funds in between take place. In that, this income distance becomes a very key. You look here, 50% in 14th Finance Commission just for income distance, 45% in 15th Finance Commission for just for income distance. So what is this income distance? If like suppose we are taking a state like Punjab, their per capita income is like 10, but the average national per capita income is like 100. So the distance between the income, it means it's a very low performing states and they are in require of income. So such state will be given much more income. They are also believe that they might have the demographic dividend which would actually help India in the future. So such resources like health, education, etc. is concentrated to that states more. Now the rich states which gets a less percentage in terms of income distribution, they will get less amount compared to the low income states. So that is also an issue. They have recommended the freeze income distance by about 40%. Like in 14th Finance Commission it's 50%. In 15th Finance Commission, that is what is going on now, it's 45%. They have talked on recommendation of raising it to about 40%. So I have written what is income detail in here. Now moving on, I have told you like the divisible pool, that is how there is a distribution between the center and state. As per the 15th Finance Commission, 41% is given to the states, the rest 59% is taken by the central government. So you see there was a decrease from 42% to 41%. Like see in the previous I have shown you that there was an increase from 13 to 14%, from 30 to like 42%. There is a huge increase in the state, but there is a decrease by 1 in the case here because the number of states has decreased. By 2019, we have bifurcated Jammu and Kashmir, which is state, into union territories. So that's why just a 1% share of the Jammu and Kashmir as a state was reduced. That's how 42 became 41. Also, we need to know some key terms like surcharge and cess. Surcharge is tax on tax, which means if I am earning about 2 crores, okay, so I will have to pay a tax about 30%. Now, other than this, a 1 or 2% of extra tax is levied by the central government. So the overall tax increases, and surcharge is a tax on the tax that has been already applied, while cess is a bit different because cess is also a tax, but cess is for a particular purpose only, maybe for education or for health. That particular aayittulla purpose nu vendi maatrame ubhayikkavu. That cess is used only for the particular purpose of health or education, and it can't be used for any other purpose. So you see, this surcharge and cess completely goes to the central government divisible pool. The states are not getting the share, and this has been increasing, like you see here. The states used to get at least 35%. Now it has been reduced to about 31%. This BE is basically the budget estimate, just don't worry about that. And also the share of surcharge and cess has been increased. It was actually about 12.8%. Now about 18.5% of the gross tax revenue is a share of surcharge and cess that has been increased. Also, I have told you in my earlier video that the present debt to GDP ratio of India is 89.8%. It is just not of the central government, but center gives out about 58.7%, while the state approximately about 31.1 or 31%. As per the FRBM, that is the Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management Guideline Rules, which was last amendment in 2018, they had given out a guideline that the center should maintain their debt to GDP ratio by 40%, while the state should be about 20%. Now you see here, it has exceeded by 18.7% in the case of center and about 11% in the case of state. And also the fiscal deficit, that is the center, like the total expenditure of the central government is more than their receipts. That fiscal deficit has also increased for the center and state. Average has 4.1% of the state. Now, what are the reforms that the 16th Finance Commission has to be taken care of? This report or this article is written by C. Rangarajan, who was the chairman of the 12th Finance Commission. So these are some of his recommendations, or this article is completely about his point of view or his recommendation of what the 16th Finance Commission should be able to check in and do. Like the FRBM Act has to be re-examined. It was last amendment in 2018. Now the geopolitical conditions of India and all our debt, all the budget has very big change, like because of the COVID, geopolitical tensions between India and China and all, there is a requirement of budget on how it be changed and how the debt has to be managed by the Indian government. So the FRBM Act has to be re-examined by the new committee. Also, and a subject of non-merit subsidies. Like non-merit subsidy basically means freebies. If the, like in case of coming election or something, the government or the parties are meant to give more as freebies, then it actually is a burden over the budget as well. Thus, that has to be examined. And setting up of a loan council. This was actually mentioned by the 12th Finance Commission, as I told you, that was chaired by C. Rangarajan. Oversee the loan magnitude and profiles of both the central and state government. So how their loans are managed, how their finance is gone, everything has to be managed by setting up of loan council. Also restrict that the state not exceed their fiscal deficit. We saw the fiscal deficit of state as 4.1%, so that the states also maintain their fiscal deficit or limit their fiscal deficit. So that is all about the first article. Now moving on to global boiling. There was a recent news. As per the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, the earth has passed from warming to a boiling state. Now you see, like if I am like trying to boil a water, first it will be warm, then it will start boiling, such that our earth is passing through the condition where the global warming has passed and has entered to a phase of global boiling. Now this year is said to be the hottest month in over the past 12,000 years, and also scientists from the World Meteorological Organization, European Commission, Copernicus Climate Change Service has stated that July has been the hottest 3-week record in their 174 years after they started recording. This 3-week period in July has been the hottest they have ever seen. The average July temperature 16.95%, which is actually a 0.2 degrees Celsius greater than what has been experienced in July 2019. Like there is a rise in ocean temperature, and the central equatorial Pacific Ocean also is transiting from phase of La Nina to El Nino. So we can see, at least in the last 3 years, there is a change in climatic conditions around these areas. We can see there is in our northwest China is touching 52 degrees Celsius. There is wildfire happening in Greece, heat waves happening in United States. Also we can see in India, like our northern and western region, which are mostly arid, they are getting a lot of rainfall. There is torrential burst of rainfall, many floods and devastation. We recently saw about the Himachal Pradesh flash flood issues and all. So these are some of the what things are happening. So what are the recommendations that the articles made? We can still follow the Paris climate convention of limiting our global temperature by 1.5%. Also it states about taking the world's largest economy should target for more emission cuts, like our US, Europe, they should focus more on emission cuts again. And to India, if we wish to be the 3rd largest economy in a very few years, we should actually put an advancement in most of our policies, like starting by advancement in our net zero target by 2050 instead of 2070. And also we are focusing on generating fossil free electricity by 2040 and not 2050 and all that. There is need of some kind of changes in our policy mechanisms also to become, if we are to become a 3rd largest economy. Now, India-Japan Peacetime Cooperation. Now, recently the Japanese Foreign Minister Yoshimasa Hayashi has visited India for the 15th annual India-Japan Foreign Ministers Strategic Dialogue. So they were talking about giving a more peace cooperation than a wartime cooperation, because there is rising tensions in the Taiwan Strait area between US and China and growing geopolitical problems and all. They were emphasizing on a peacetime cooperation rather than a wartime cooperation. Also we can see that US-China tensions over the Taiwan Strait. Like August 2020, the US Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited Taiwan region, which created a huge debate and tension within US and China. So that is also a major talking point here between India and Japan. Now, you need to know basics about India-Japan relations. I don't have the time to cover a lot, so I will be just going in detail the major and key facts, defense and other such strategic partnership and India and Japan has. In 1952, India and Japan had the peace treaty and established diplomatic relations. India was one of the major or first countries to have a peace treaty signed by Japan post the World War II. Also, that escalated into a global partnership by 2025, and that escalated into a special strategic global partnership by 2014. In 2008, we also had a joint declaration on security cooperation. We are having bilateral military exercises and all, like we have 2+2 defense and foreign ministers meeting. We have bilateral exercise like JIMMEX in case of Navy, Shinyu Maitri in case of Air Force, Dharma Guardian in case of military, and also Japan has been participating in our Malabar exercise between India and US. We have been conducting annual summits since 2005, and both India and Japan are committed to have a free and open Indo-Pacific region. So that is some of the major establishments between India and Japan over the years. Now let's talk about what happening now. India is currently the 18th largest trading partner for Japan, and for India, Japan is the 13th largest trading partner. Also, FDI investments and all, Japan ranks the 5th largest investor in India. Japan has been like in our construction project, roads, metros, bullet trains and other construction projects, Japan has been investing heavily. So it's ranked up to the 5th largest investor in India. So currently the India and Japan has come out to three important conclusions. The two sides actually recommitted a 5 yen, you see, it's not US dollar but yen, which is a currency of Japan. This is not the first time Japan has been giving India loan in yen. It has been giving us yen loans since 1958. Okay, so Japan has committed to give us a yen 5 trillion target for Japanese investment in India for a period of between 2022 to 2027, 5 years period. Also, Japan's new Indo-Pacific policy also has a special focus in India, and Japan is also focusing on the third world countries like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So these are some of the major commitments or resolutions that came out of the India-Japan talks. Semicon India. Now this is a very important topic which we need to know about going on semiconductor mission in India. What is a semiconductor? What is the present global scenario? And why India is focusing upon our semiconductor industry. Now recently the second Semicon India summit was held in Gandhinagar, which is in Gujarat. It was organized by the India Semiconductor Mission. This is an important key mission which you need to know. India Semiconductor Mission in partnership with other industries which are formulating semiconductor and our Ministry of Electronics and IT. The aim was to actually make India a global hub for semiconductor. It can be semiconductor design or semiconductor manufacture or even development in the basis of semiconductor tech. It will help achieve in achieving India's semiconductor mission and rise above and be a global hub for semiconductor design, manufacture and technological development. Now, semiconductors are actually compounds which has conductivity between an insulator and a conductor. It can be made up of pure elements like silicon or germanium, or it can be made by compounds like gallium arsenide or cadmium selenide. So what is the present global status? Now we have high demand because we are using semiconductor for everything. It can be our phone, laptop, for aircrafts and all. We have multiple uses of semiconductor chips. That is why there is in the IT field, in the digital field, there is an increasing trend of using the semiconductor chips. So there is high demand, but there is a supply chain constraint. There was constraints due to a pandemic. Also, China said that they won't be giving out or exporting any more germanium or gallium because they need it for their domestic support. So some of these are reasons why there is a global shortage. So what is India's mission? India projected an outline of 76,000 crores, which was this Semicon India program was launched in 2021 and it outlines about a 76,000 crore. Okay, and it also talks about, it has been amended in September 2020 and stated that they will be giving fiscal incentives about 50% of the project force if they are setting up semiconductor fabs, fabricating units in India, and also display fabs in India. So these are some of the key things which you need to know about our semiconductor, need for semiconductor industries in India, and what is India's semiconductor mission. These can be a prelims question as well as a mains question. Okay. Now, moving on to our next, it's a very small topic. The Sahyadri region is usually known in our western Ghats, which comes in the Maharashtra region. So there has been a shift in the traditional cropping plantations, and they have been monocropping with compounds like mangoes and cashew, which is actually affecting the ecosystem, affecting the amphibians, the other insect and reptiles which live in the crop under a crop of loose rocks like gecko and all are some of the amphibians or insects that are affected in these areas. This changing agriculture trend is what has been portrayed in this whole article. The important thing is the Sahyadri Hills is in the Western Ghats that comes in the regions of Maharashtra, is particularly called as Sahyadri Hills. Now moving on to our last topic. we have the BS norms, Bharat Stage Petroleum Norms. The first thing which you need to know is a key term, that is the GRAP, that is the Graded Response Action Plan. This was particularly started to control pollution in the case of Delhi, and NCR, that is the National Capital Region that surrounds the Delhi areas. So the GRAP, that is Graded Response Action Plan, was started particularly for Delhi. And also things which we need to know is the air quality index range between the numbers of 0 to 500. If the air quality goes greater than 401, it is called a severe category. If this goes 451 plus, it becomes a severe category. So in a case of there is severe air pollution in the case of Delhi and all, the BS3 petrol and the Bharat Stage 4 diesel cars can't fly when the air quality hits the severe category. That is, if the air quality goes above 401, these type of cars which in the Bharat Stage 3 and 4 norms can't get out of the garage. Now, our policy formulation in the case of pollution has been transiting from a long time. You can see in 1991-2000 where we have initially started our mass emission norms. There was no Bharat Stage set then, but the Supreme Court orders and there was an increase in pollution. So they had to bring out some emission norms for petrol and diesel vehicles respectively. And 2001 is when we have actually founded our Bharat Stage norms were introduced, and since 2000 it has been changing a lot. We had Bharat Stage 1 introduced, we have Bharat Stage 2, 3, 4, and we skipped the 5 because there was rising pollution tendencies and we need to act faster. So we skipped Bharat Stage 5 and directly moved on to Bharat Stage 6. All these Bharat Stage mass norms has been initially introduced in key areas like Delhi, Mumbai and Chennai where the pollution levels are high, then gradually it was extended to all the regions in India. Now currently we are under Bharat Stage 6 and there is discussion going on for development of Bharat Stage 7 norms to control the pollutions. So these are all to be known about the Bharat Stage. So that is all for today. We will discuss more and we will see you again in the next video. Thank you. You can get the PDF from our Telegram channel Gallant IAS. Thank you.